The streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, Tri-State area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK and the world, welcome to The Box Out. It is Thursday night, 9 p.m. special time, September 2nd, 2020. We're in September. We are in September. It's crazy. First and foremost, hopefully everyone's safe and sound who's been in the path of Ida, whether it was Hurricane Ida that hit the Gulf Coast, whether it was the remnants of Ida here in New Jersey. I know in New York, where Jason is, who's joining me in just a few minutes, Pennsylvania. Hopefully everyone's safe, everyone's sound, and everyone's doing well. It's been a crazy week in weather, climate change, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go on that conversation here, but so hopefully everyone's safe and doing very well. So tonight, we got a lot to do, and the second half of the show is going to be the controversial part of the show, but we'll get to that later. First, we have to start with the news of the week, and we took a couple weeks off, recharge our batteries a little bit. We're on our summer schedule, so not a lot happening. We take some time off. And, of course, this week, we hear reportedly, we got to specify that, oh boy, Ben Simmons is not happy in Philadelphia, which the reports have been all summer that Ben Simmons may not want to stay in Philly. It came out this week that he went to Sixers brass and said, I do not want to stay in Philly. I want to leave. Joel Embiid went on Twitter to try to diffuse the situation, to try to lighten the fall of all this. But it's, for the lack of a better term, it's turned into a shit show in Philadelphia. So here's a clip from Highly Questionable, Pablo Torre, and my man Clinton Yates talking about the situation in Philly and if it is salvageable or if it will continue to get messy. So here's Highly Questionable on ESPN.
Yeah, it's going to get real messy, and it's not going to be surprisingly messy to everything Katie had just laid out for us. It's going to be predictably messy because this has been going on for a while, and all of this was foreseeable. This is a chess game, except several people who have an impact on said outcome of this game are just playing checkers. And I will bring up Joel Embiid here because Joel Embiid said some nice things on Twitter, which I appreciate. Can we show those things? Because this is what I want to see, right? Media making stuff up. He wants to play with Ben Simmons. And there's this next one where he says clearly that he loves playing with Ben Simmons, that we have it all wrong. And I want to believe Joel Embiid here, but I don't. I am too cynical and too damaged to believe even the thing that I desperately want to hear. And it's because Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers and the majority of Philadelphia and the assembled fans in the Sixers diaspora, they have been playing checkers. I have been so infuriated by the idea that everybody very loudly just wants Ben Simmons gone, period. That was what was said, as Katie alluded to, after they lost to the Hawks. Joel Embiid basically said that. Doc Rivers basically said that. Every fan on the internet has been saying that. And here's the thing about wanting someone gone in the NBA when they're on a 4-year deal and they're 25 years old. It's not going to make it any easier to get a trade offer that the GM of the team feels good about if you're just saying, hey, we all hate this dude. Please take him off our hands. The chess move is to say, actually what I have been saying sincerely but sarcastically, right? You just say, we love this guy. We love him so much. And that's what Joel Embiid is finally doing here, except it's way too late. Yeah. So who's going to get messy? Yes. Ben Simmons isn't going to show up. And the question becomes, how much tolerance do the Sixers have to play regular season games if that guy isn't actually playing and showing up? And I hope they have a lot of tolerance for it, but all of this could have been avoided if you just sounded a little more like me.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the mixed metaphors are flying about the cabin in a way that metaphors are very difficult to keep up with. But I will continue that, and I will say you yada-yadded over the best part here. It wasn't just all of these disparate things. What happened was when Doc Rivers said to America, I don't know if he's a championship level point guard. Ben at that point said, "Oh, you don't? Well, how about I will take my talents elsewhere?" And it's kind of like that awkward situation in a relationship where things that happened early are not happening late anymore. And you've just got to decide, am I going to continue this relationship with some things just no longer happening that I used to enjoy, that we used to enjoy, and that we used to tell everybody we used to enjoy, but now for some reason you're just holding out on? That comes back to the disrespect he was shown in public. Rule 1, don't embarrass me. That's what most people tell you in a relationship. And considering that Ben is the one in the power position in this scenario, the Sixers are going to be looking bad, and their whole crew knows it. That's the most embarrassing part of it.
All right, so that was highly questionable on ESPN as I bring in Jason Cordner. Jay, what's popping, man?
Not much. What an interesting week, Simmons won out. Stephen A. and Max are broken up. We've outlasted a lot of dynamic duos, by the way.
We have been 5 years of January. We've been doing this, and I feel like we're the constant in the sports landscape right now. So Absolutely. If anybody's watching and listening, we're here. What's up? Started the show with Ben Simmons reportedly, no, he didn't come out obviously and say it, but reportedly requesting a trade from the Sixers. We saw this coming based on what Doc said and based on what Embiid said after the Eastern Conference Series against Atlanta. What are your thoughts when you heard the story?
I was like, it's long overdue, man. The way they was dragging this guy's name in the mud all summer, it was long overdue, and he should have asked for it maybe as soon as the finals was going on. He should have been like, "Yeah, I want out," but he waited, and now training camp's only a couple weeks away, and let's see what's going to happen. I still feel like the best move they had, or the best offer, was probably the Pacers offer, and that sailed, and now everybody knows he's disgruntled and he wants out. So I don't know what kind of offer you're going to get.
Well, I think, too, the issue for me is you're right. I think the Pacers' offer is probably be the best offer they get. Brogdon, first-round draft pick. Done. Straight up. Get it over with. I think they're still on this kick of, this is Ben Simmons, right? We have Ben Simmons. Number high pick, good guy. It's not as cut and dry. We saw what he did in the playoffs. We saw in that series, and listen, the enduring video is him with that layup in front of him passing it off to Maxey.
Yep.
That's what everybody remembers. No one remembers the passes he made in game 1 and 2. People remember that play. I think that's the issue. The Sixers want this king's ransom for a player who's played like a peasant in the last month of the season. So what can they literally, like, if you're a GM right now, and I think the Sixers want it reportedly from Golden State, Wiggins, Weissman, their 2 first-round picks. Now, I feel like there was something else. And, of course, Wiggins, Weissman, 7-14 in this year's draft, and then 2 future first-round picks.
Oh, they must be smoking that good California kush.
And Golden State was like, Golden State was like, hell no. So if you're a GM, what would you give up for Ben Simmons right now?
If I was a GM, I would probably give up a starter, expiring contract, and maybe a first-round pick. And that's about it. I'm not giving up the whole farm for Ben Simmons, unless I feel like he can make immediate improvement to my roster. Like, I'm here in Sacramento. That's cool, but there's no way I'm giving up Fox or Hallenberger. No way. Now, if you said Buddy Hield and a couple of draft picks, we can have a conversation.
I mean, and when you look at the contract situation, I think the Buddy Hield contract kind of almost matches up with Simmons' contract. So you're almost trading one contract for another, and then the Sixers will want a sweetener on top of that deal. But I just feel like the Sixers are going to aim way too high. Simmons said, reportedly, he's not coming to training camp. So he's done.
He's done.
It's over. So everyone knows he wants out. Everyone knows that Philly's going to get desperate to move him because they don't want to mess with the chemistry. Not to mention, they want to figure out what kind of team they're going to have, because I think we talked about it. I think I said that they wouldn't be successful if they kept Ben Simmons. I think you're a lot more lenient, thinking that they'll still compete with Joel and Simmons there.
They'll still be a top 4 team. I think they'll slip a little bit. They won't be 1 or 2, but they'll definitely be a top 4 in the East.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation, and I really feel like the Sixers are it's gonna be like a Houston situation. They're like Houston's gonna have to shit or get off the pot with Harden, and he pulled the move off. And good on them, because the move they pulled off was ridiculous, was insane. Can Philly do the same thing? No, but eventually they will have to do what Houston did: is shit or get off the pot and make this move, and maybe not take the best offer possible. Just take what they can get and get out.
But you know what? If the Warriors really engaged everything and said, "Hey, we can really compete for a championship now," and they would offer like Wiggins, maybe 2 of the rookies, and maybe a draft pick down the line, I think 76 might have to take that deal. There's no way I'm giving up Wiseman. There's no way I'm giving up Wiseman in that deal.
I know Bill Simmons was pretty much making trade ideas off of the draft for Golden State, but Kuminga becomes another trade piece that you could have in your back pocket as well. So you don't necessarily have to trade Wiseman. You don't necessarily have to trade Wiggins. You can trade Jonathan Kuminga. True. And I think Kuminga's kind of play set kind of goes a lot better with Joel Embiid. So I think that could work. So I think they have another trade piece in their back pocket. But I don't know who has the leverage here. Does Philly have the leverage, or does Ben Simmons have that leverage? I feel like
I don't think it's Ben Simmons. And I kind of think this is why he's playing his hand now, because they had all summer if they really felt like making a move, but they didn't. And then they was having these high demands. So Ben Simmons is probably like, F this, I'm not coming back. You guys didn't trade me, so here's where I want to go. So I think he has the leverage right now.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We're about a little over a month before the season starts, so we'll see what happens, because it's going to be crazy. In other news, and we talk about the Lakers getting older. They pick up another older player. Rajon Rondo returns to the Lakers after being bought out by his contract from Memphis. So now he goes back to LA. They get another guy who can't shoot on a team full of guys who can't shoot. Are they going to be good? Like, I know they're building something. I know they're trying to get this team of vets, kind of like what Brooklyn's doing. We'll talk about Brooklyn in a few minutes. Are they good?
I think they're going to cruise during the play. Are they going to cruise to the playoffs? Do I think they're going to be a top 4 seed in the West? Probably a 4 or 5. I don't think they're going to get the number 1. I don't think they're going to have that kind of season. I think they're going to cruise, try to figure it out, and see what happens in the playoffs. But I don't like the roster the way it's formatted at all. Because like you said, no one can shoot, and they're so old. So like when you're running that fast break, I smell a lot of injuries for this team. So they're really gonna have to slow the pace down a little bit.
Do you think them picking up all these vets is for what the reason you just said? There's gonna be a lot of injuries, and they're gonna need bodies, and the bodies they had last year, Caruso, Kuzma, insert random young guy here. That didn't work for LeBron. That didn't work for AD. They wanted vets for those nights where they're going to be knocked up, banged up. The rest, load management. Do you think these vets are there for that reason now?
I think so. And then it was kind of smart to bring back Rondo and Dwight Howard, who are familiar with the system. So that helps a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think I would love to see Vegas under and over for how many games each Laker plays. Because I don't know if anybody's playing more than 50 games.
I'm going to bring it up for next show, and I might actually put some money down on that, because I think if we go for LeBron over under,
I'm gonna give
over under 70.
Okay,
you go under, I assume, right?
Yeah.
AD over under 65.
He has to go under.
Under 65. Jesus, I haven't dropped 5 games off of it. Carmelo over under 60.
I think Carmelo's going to be playing. I think he's going to play over. I think he's playing 70 games.
Rondo over under 72.
I'm thinking 65.
I'm bringing up the roster right now. I'm looking at it. Westbrook over under 75.
Oh, Westbrook's a dog. He's going to play as long as he's not hurt. So I'm going to go over. And he's home. He's back home too. So he's going to play.
Trevor Ariza over under 50.
I'm going under.
Damn.
The last time he's played more than Yeah, I'm going under.
Malik Monk over under 60.
Well, he's the young fellow on the roster, so he's playing over 60.
Because I'm looking at the roster right now, and Malik Monk, he's a 2. He could play a point if you need him to, but he's really a 2. Westbrook could play the 2. Horton Tucker could play the 2. Kendrick Nunn could play the 2 or the 3.
Sure.
Ariza could play the 2 or the 3. Ellington could play the 2. Kent Bazemore could play 2 or 3. So I feel like Monk being a young guy, he may get lost in the shuffle with this team.
I think so too. He's not, he might have envisioned he's going to have the Caruso role, but Kyle Kuzma, but I don't think he's going to have either one of those kind of roles. I think he's going to be the plug and place kind of guy. If Westbrook's hurt, he's going to get more minutes. If Rondo can't play, he's going to get some minutes. But I think that's about it.
So we talk about teams kind of reloading up. We got to talk about Brooklyn. Today, Brooklyn announced 2 possible moves. Paul Millsap coming in. And surprisingly enough, which I was shocked about, LaMarcus Aldridge medically cleared to return and is looking like he's going to return to Brooklyn. So you bring in Millsap, who's at this point, he's a really good power forward, come off the bench. And you bring back Aldridge, who showed flashes before his season was ended based on, I think it was a regular heartbeat or heart arrhythmia. Where do these 2 guys fit? Because I feel like the way the roster's set up, unless you get rid of DeAndre Jordan, you kind of have this.
You have to
now,
yeah.
Because I feel like now you have this kind of crowded front.
He's probably going to go to the Lakers, by the way.
Oh, jeez, you're probably right, actually. But I mean, I'm looking at Durant, who could play the 4, 5 if you want to play small. All right, DeAndre's still there. Bruce Brown, who's a 6'4" power forward, which still kills me.
Shout out to Bruce Brown. He's at every Liberty game I go to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's always there. They're always picking him up on the screen.
Nice. Javon Carter could play the 3, give or take, maybe.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, Day'Ron Sharpe, who is drafted, Nick Claxton, Alize Johnson, and now you add in Millsap and you add in Aldridge. Oh, and they got DeAndre Bembry, who could play the 3 or the 4. Is this a good thing? We talked about their lack of size last year, and now it seems like they have too much size.
It's a good thing because DeAndre's gone, so now I feel like Millsap is definitely essentially replacing Jeff Green. He's gonna play those minutes. He's gonna probably back up Durant, and I think the size they're gonna need him, man. I think they got exposed. Philly's gonna try to bully them. The Bucks are gonna try to bully them. So yeah, I think it's a great addition by the subtraction of DeAndre. So,
and speaking of the Nets and other big news, because we're still in COVID, obviously, Nets, Knicks, and Warriors, because they're in California. If you're not vaccinated, you cannot play ball. That was the ruling that came down from the NBA, that came down from the cities, from the states. We don't know the percentage of each team that's vaccinated.
Right.
And if this becomes an issue in, let's be honest, in blue states, because red states don't give a shit, they kind of just living their best life right now. Would this become is it the big story? Is this just like, this is bound to happen? This is going to go down eventually?
I definitely think it was bound to happen. It's not a big story yet, but it will be down the line. Because I was thinking about Cam Newton. For all intents and purposes, he got cut from the Patriots because he's not vaccinated. So I feel like if a player's on the bubble, we could be talking about either you get vaccinated or you might have to go to the G League. So I think it'll be wise in the best interest of most of the players to, handle their business.
Yeah, I feel like it's more than the NFL. I feel like the NBA probably has their shit together more.
Oh, of course.
I feel like there's no Cole Beasleys in the NBA right now.
Right.
That ain't going down. But it's interesting that I feel like the franchise themselves, the Knicks, the Nets, the Warriors, they're on board. And you haven't had that one player on either one of those teams to kind of push back like you've had in NFL.
Right.
I almost feel like in the NBA, you're not going to have that. So the bigger story is going to be more of the NBA players really advocating to get the vaccines and One American News talking shit about them, about how they're part of the conspiracy to get people vaccinated and get the Microsoft chip in their bodies.
Do you also think they're doing this because, one, they want to get more fans back up in the building, front row. They want us back in the media, back in the locker rooms, things like that. So I think they want that. They want to bring back that old feeling. And maybe, just maybe, if you're asking the fans to be vaccinated, it's only right to have the players do the same.
Yeah, you can't have 20,000 people vaccinated in a building, and then you're the backup to backup center with no mask on, screaming, yelling, spitting. Like it doesn't feel right. I feel like that's just bad. That's bad PR in general for any team. So you don't want that. The NBA did announce that unvaccinated players will have lockers as far away as possible from their vaccinated teammates. Will have to eat, fly, and ride buses in different sections. The unvaccinated players will have to undergo testing on game days and practice days, and depending on team schedules, could have to test twice on some game days.
Wow.
Once again.
I feel like that's for the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trail Blazers. Right. Maybe we can throw the Oklahoma City Thunder in there. That's their memo. They got that memo.
I mean, you listen, you mentioned, not to make political, you mentioned red state. You mentioned red areas. Oklahoma City, Utah. What was the one you mentioned?
I want to say Portland, but they kind of liberal over there. So I would say instead of Portland, we're going to insert Memphis, because Tennessee does his own thing too.
Yeah, I can see it. Georgia. I can see Atlanta. I do feel like it's the NBA know what they're doing, and the NFL trying this, but it's not working. The NFL's like, if you're not vaccinated, you can't do X, Y, and Z. And players are like, I don't give a shit. We can do it anyway. Like I said, I feel like the NBA is so much better with this, and they get it. And the players are like, listen, let's just get it together, do what we have to do, and let's play ball. So I feel like this is the story.
We're not going back to the bubble life. As much as the Lakers are bringing back everybody from the bubble.
Doesn't it seem like they're just trying to like just redo it all over again? Run it back?
Yep.
And now just with Kent Bazemore part of it, just put the story in, man. I got to talk to the NBA before we get to our big top 10 list, because I think we have a lot to talk about that. Top question, biggest question so far: are the Liberty done?
I think so. I think the fight's out of them. I think it's a wrap for the season. I think they peaked too early. That's what I think happened. And the games I've seen them lose, like the Seattle game and then the Phoenix game, they're not up to those teams' caliber yet. They got lucky that first Seattle game, but they're just not there yet. And I think it's growing pain. So we kind of knew it was going to be a growing pain kind of season, but they showed flashes early, and I think now they just coasted to the finish line. I don't see them making the playoffs.
So right now they're in the 8th seed. So right now they're technically in the playoffs still right now.
I don't know if they're gonna hold it.
Washington and LA, they're both one game behind Liberty. Washington 9, Sparks 10. Washington's missing Tina Charles, I think, for the next 2 to 4 games. Elena Deladon returned. So Deladon looked really good when she came back. And she's kind of on the pitch count. She's playing a few minutes, not a lot. She played like 20, 25 minutes the other night, scored like 17, 18 points. So that makes Washington a very dangerous opponent if they get in the playoffs. I think for the Liberty, I think Sammy Whitcomb getting injured hurt them. So I feel like Sammy Whitcomb,
absolutely,
12 points a game, 40% from three-point land. I think that put a lot more pressure on Benaj Laney. You start to see Ionescu kind of figure it out a little bit, but I feel like she's starting to force shots. She knows the urgency. They got to win games. Laney's starting to look tired. Dee Richards, who, and she's a ball player, and I mean, no disrespect, she's cute, but she balls, and she wasn't playing early. And that's the weird part. She got no playing time I want to say first 6-7 games. And she came in because she comes off the bench, she's like 6th person off the bench. She gives energy, she rebounds, she hustles. And I feel like that's what kind of kept Liberty in a lot of these games, especially the game they won against Seattle.
Yep, it did. And then, it was a great spark, but I feel like now it's just they're playing defeated basketball,
So Connecticut, they're in the top spot in WNBA, 21-9. The Aces 19-7, Seattle 18-10. The Lynx 2 games behind. They're playing right now. Actually, I got to check the score because I was watching it before we got on. And Phoenix. These are all the teams that have clinched playoff spots so far. So Connecticut, Vegas, Seattle, Minnesota, Phoenix, Chicago 14-13. They're 6. Dallas 11-15. Am I reading that right? 11-15. They're 7. Liberty 11-17. I do feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like the Olympic break might have killed some momentum because they were getting better, and then they were off for like 3 weeks. And I feel like they came back and they were out of rhythm and just kind of stopped working for them. Do you kind of agree with that?
I kind of agree with that assessment because everything's been off since after the break.
So I'm bringing this up, the playoff scenarios. Chicago can actually clinch playoff spot with a win and losses by LA and New York. New York plays tonight. I believe they're in Seattle, I think. So they play tonight. So if LA and New York lose, Chicago clinches. We're coming down to the point where seasons kind of come to an end, and I don't really think that you said it a lot. The Liberty, they're like a year ahead of schedule.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I feel like there's really no urgency from them to go, we want to make the playoffs. Let's go all in, because they're ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that same way? Or do you feel like they do want to make the playoffs and they just hit a rough patch of the schedule right now?
I think they hit a very rough patch, and I do think they want to make the playoffs. If anything, just to build off of that and carry it over to next season, where hopefully everybody plays a little better and they get a full complement of roster and make a little adjustment here and see what they got. But they're definitely a year ahead of schedule, so I'll stick with that.
So right now, Atlanta's up 50-47 on Dallas, which is the game that New York's probably watching in the locker room for their game tonight. Mm-hmm. And LA's up on Minnesota 48-47. LA, like I said, fighting for that 8th spot to get in. Remember, I think 8, there's a play-in. So you're in the playoffs, but you get the one and done before you get the series. And I think next game after tonight for the Liberty, as I look, Saturday. Okay. Wait, is it next Saturday? They don't play till next week. Wait, tonight. Yeah, they play. Wow, they play next Saturday night against Dallas, which would be probably a playoff. That's the playoff preview.
The playoff game. Ooh.
So that's gonna be rough for them. So I as a fan, I want to see them make it. If you're looking at it, as we do analytically, I don't see them making the playoffs at all. I don't. And I hate to say that because they are really, really close.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a lot of pressure on Laney right now. I feel like Ionescu still seems like she's not right.
She's had a horrible sophomore season.
It's weird to see it. It's weird to know that where she was in Oregon, she had the flashes in those 2 games in a wobble and got hurt. Mm-hmm. She had the first 2 games this season where she was balling out, and then she just fell off. It's mind-boggling to see how far she fell.
It's a mental thing. I think she'll bounce back next season.
I hope so, because they need her. I feel like she's probably won't. If she was playing up to snuff, up to where she was, I think this is above 500 team. If you add Laney, you add Wickham, Dee Richards, the way she's playing, I wish they would have kept Amanda Zawi. I wish they would have kept her around, but they made the trades. Natasha Howard actually has shown some flashes the last couple of games, so it's going to be interesting to see how the season ends for the Liberty. Now, we're on to the main event today. A couple weeks ago, we had some time off, and I told Jason, first I told Jason top 25, and I'm like, we'll be here all night. So we're going to do a top 10 NBA players of all time. Now, this is going to start some shit probably on YouTube, Twitter, whoever. This is just our list. We each have our own 10. It is subjective.
Oh, my list, not definitive. Is definitely going to start some shit.
This is our list. Feel free, come at us at the Box Out Pod on Twitter. If you differ in the comment section, we will listen to your concerns. Don't come at your neck though, but we'll listen to your concerns. Jason Corder, you have the floor. You go first for the top 10 players of all time.
So we're doing a number 10?
We're going to do number 10.
All right, number 10. I'm going with Wilt. I'm going Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay. Number 10 is Wilt. So my number 10 is Oscar Robertson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I put for each of these, I put like a little thing. I put Westbrook before Westbrook.
Fair enough.
All around player, inside, outside, and I want to make this clear too. I forgot to mention this: championships, number that really didn't play a big role in my head.
It didn't play a big role in my list either.
Yeah, like championships don't really mean shit to me. Like I'm talking like, hey, what were their contributions to the game? So I think Oscar Robinson's 10 and your 10 was Wilt. Who was your 9?
My 9 is a big fundamental. Tim, I'm going with Tim Duncan.
Whoa, Tim Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So my 9 is your 10, Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay.
So Wilt, I put scoring machine. I feel like he was the first real dominant big man.
Yep.
Like overly dominant. Now, if you read Bill Simmons' book, the book of basketball, he essentially makes the argument that Wilt Chamberlain just pretty much played against 6'2" white guys for about 10 years. And then when Bill Russell popped in, Bill Russell started whooping that ass, and Wilt just kind of shrunk. So,
and you know what's funny about when you just mentioned the book? I kind of did my research beforehand.
I did too, yes. Wait, I was at a lake house. My wife, kid, their friends, I'm literally sitting and reading the book too, because I'm like, I have this book. I've never really read it. I read all these other books. Yeah. Let me read this book. And he made an interesting point about Wilt and Bill, which I'll get into when I get to the other part of the list, because the other part of the list features the other guy we're talking about. But anyway, who's your 8?
My 8, this might shock some people. I'm going new school. I'm going Kevin Durant.
You put wait. Hold on. Kevin Durant's number 8 of all time.
I'm putting him up there. I think the Slim Reaper deserves his due, and I think when it's all said and done, he's definitely a top 10 player.
Okay. Wow. All right. So we got to talk about that.
I told you my list is going to start some trouble.
we got to talk about that in a few minutes. My 8, kind of old school, kind of new school, a little older school. I put Kobe.
Oh wow. Okay.
Kobe 8. My reasoning, I feel like he influenced more players than anyone's ever influenced. Okay. I feel like his style, Mamba mentality. I feel like, and just what he brought to his teams, the intensity, and this has nothing to do with him passing away, because I feel like if he was alive, he was up there. He was still in the conversation. So he's 8. So okay, I got to go back to the Durant. I'm sorry. I got to dwell for a second. What makes Durant top 10 of all time?
I think we've never seen a 7-footer scoring like that. And I feel like and then the Achilles injury. He came back from that, didn't miss a beat. I definitely think he's number 2 behind LeBron right now in his era. And I think when it's all said and done, and I had a tough decision. It was between him and I was going to go with Dirk. And the reason I was going to go with Dirk is because I think you have to put Dirk in the top 10 because of the influence, the global game that basketball's become. Where Petrovic, he unfortunately died early. Tony Kukoc, he came in with a lot of hype. He's nowhere near Dirk. So I think for the global game, you have to put Dirk in the top 10. But for some reason, I said, you know what? I got to put the Slim Reaper in there. So Dirk is out. Dirk is out of my top 10. He's number 11 for me.
See, now that you mention Dirk's contribution, he's not in my top 10, obviously. But I feel like there is an argument for that, because I feel like he changed how people looked at foreign-born players. Because
wouldn't we know Luka without Dirk?
Exactly. So we think Vlade Divac, and we think, like I said, Dragan Petrovic. We think, we think he like
Turkoglu. Yeah.
Like we don't think like, hey, these guys are stars. Vlade Divac was a star. Petrovic was getting there.
He was getting there.
Turkoglu was just ancillary part that Sacramento wanted. Dirk was the first true international star from overseas. So I think that's a good argument. Who's your 7?
My 7, I'm going with Kareem. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Ooh, okay. Kareem. I like Kareem. My 7. And my wife told me I couldn't do this. I was going to put these two 6A, 6B. Okay. But I was told I couldn't do that. My 7 is Larry Bird.
Oh my God, I don't have Larry Legend on my top 10.
Really? Wow. Because I'm going to go into 6 too, because I feel like they're intertwined. I put Magic 6. Okay. And I think I put the 6A, 6B, because I'm like, together, they pretty much saved the NBA. It was, because the NBA
Can you imagine if we was watching the NBA on tape delay right now?
I couldn't imagine watching the NBA Finals the next day, or watching NBA Finals at 9:00 when it aired at 2:00.
I mean, it was difficult trying to watch Olympic games this year.
You watched the Olympics?
I only watched the last game. I legitimately watched the gold medal game when Frank missed the air ball. That was my highlight. From the air ball on, I saw.
That's a shame. Frank missed the air ball. We were both like, good job. That's what we like. So I put Magic and Bird together because I feel like together they helped build, because they had the game in college, the title game. They got drafted the same year. I feel like it was just like
the rivalry continued.
Yeah, I feel like they're just intertwined. So that the 6A, 6B thing was possible. I was told I couldn't do that with my wife, so I didn't do that. So Bird's my 7, Magic's your 6. My 6. Who's your 6?
My 6 is Kobe. I got Kobe at 6.
Okay. All right. So I had 8. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Who's your 5? I think our top 5 might be really different. Who's your 5?
Well, I have Oscar as my 5.
Oh, okay.
So, you know.
Huh. And my 5 is Kareem.
Okay.
So I'll put Kareem, adjusted his game continuously. I feel like he kind of had to keep from UCLA to Milwaukee to LA. He kind of had to keep adjusting his game. And then when he got older with the Lakers, he kind of had to change up how he played the game a lot. So I feel like every era, I think of Kareem, you saw a different Kareem throughout his whole career.
Wonder if Giannis can do that. What if Giannis is going to have to do that? He's going to have to do that, but I wonder if he's going to do that.
Oh, he definitely has to. He definitely has to kind of switch up what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. We'll see. Who's your 4?
My 4, I'm going Magic. I got Magic as my 4.
Okay. I got the man whose silhouette is the logo.
Okay.
I got Jerry West 4.
Damn, I got no white boys on this. I'm sorry, guys. It's not intentional. I'm sorry.
So I feel like West has to be top 10 because he's the goddamn logo. Plus, I feel like there's always so much talk about Wilt in that time. I think Jerry West was that calmness that the Lakers kind of needed at that time.
He never gets mentioned as a top all-time Laker, though. It's weird.
Well, him and Havlicek.
Yeah.
He's not here. But Havlicek, and once again, thank you, Bill Simmons. Havlicek's kind of forgotten about because I think Bill Russell, I think Bob Cousy, I know Red Auerbach. Mm-hmm. But John Havlicek's name never comes in my head when I think of the Celtics team. I feel like Jerry West.
You skip over his name and you go straight to Library.
Yeah, I feel like Jerry West. Oh yeah, Wilt. Or you think like Wilt. You think Lakers. You think Knicks beat them in the finals. Like you don't think like who else was on that team but Wilt. So it's weird how West and Havlicek and other guys kind of get forgotten. George Mikan, who I actually thought about putting on his list because he was like the first big man, but he wasn't that good. Who's your 3?
No, my 3rd, I'm going with Bill. I'm going with Bill Russell.
Okay, Bill Russell. My 3, LeBron James.
Okay.
LeBron's my 3. I put a freak that the NBA has never and will never see again. I think he came to the league on some different level, and I think he's still at that level. And I don't think he'll ever really leave that level.
There's no way that, you remember ESPN was showing his high school games. There's no way I would have thought back then that this guy is going to he's not only live up to the hype, exceed the hype, and be 20 years still strong in the game. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's weird to see how I feel like kind of like Kareem, he's gonna have to adjust how he's played a little bit.
He has. So,
and you definitely see him now. He's not afraid to take those shots no more. Because early on, he would just pass it off. He was
Ben Simmons in it.
10 seconds left. You knew he wasn't shooting the ball. You knew, oh shit, he's gonna pass it off to the corner and give it to Boobie Gibson. Like, no, don't give it away. Give it him for. No, don't do that. Now he's like, I want the ball. Give me the ball. So I think his game has definitely evolved a little bit. Who's your 2? I think we might match up here.
Yeah, I got LeBron number 2.
Oh no! Wow, really?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
So who's your 1?
Jordan.
Okay, this is where we're gonna differ here. So LeBron's my 3, Jordan's my 2.
Okay. Bill
Russell's my 1.
So we pretty much have the top 3, but that's in different orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like once again, take the championships out for a second. I feel like people also got a lot of rings. Yeah, that's true. Jordan got 6. LeBron's got 4, right? Take those out for a second. I think Russell, he was what Wilt could never be, right? Russell was that first versatile big man who can score, rebound, pass, shoot, play defense. He was that 5-tool player that you talk about in baseball. And I feel like his numbers really didn't reflect how great he was, but you wanted to kind of look deeper and like Bill Russell was that guy and made everybody better, which Wilt could never do.
Yeah, and then you got to add influence. You got to add he was playing in Boston back in those days, and he was a winner. 13, you can't knock that.
Mm-hmm. And listen, he played in Boston, which is probably, and people not disagree, probably the most racist place in America, besides like anywhere in Texas. And he held it down. But you look at his numbers: 15 points, 22 rebounds, 4 assists a game. Like those aren't like screaming numbers, but it's what he brought to the Celtics. It's the entire package of what he did, especially in the playoffs. The playoffs is when those numbers went up because the intensity went up and he kind of matched it. Why is Jordan your one?
I'm thinking everything in terms of killer instinct, a winner from college all the way to the pros, influence in the game. Everybody want to be like Mike. Everybody's wearing 23. The first NBA player to become a billionaire. I mean, this is a lot of factors I put into it. But like on the court alone, MVP, defensive players. I mean, Jordan did it all, man.
So on both our lists, obviously different places, we both have Oscar Robertson. Why doesn't Oscar get the respect you think he should get? I feel like
the rings.
Exactly. Guys like us, we get Oscar Robertson. We understand what he was. I feel like everyone forgets about him because I think the rings, he didn't play for major teams. Cincinnati Royal. It was just like, I feel like Oscar Robertson is just like a forgotten about player, kind of like a Havlicek, kind of like a Jerry West.
Yeah, if he played for New York or Philadelphia, he would have been a household name.
So Oscar Robertson, his career numbers, right? 26 points a game, 7.5 rebounds a game, 9.5 assists per game. 49% from the field, 84% from the line. And then this is one of the things where you have to kind of delve deeper into like the numbers, and he has triple doubles for seasons and all that stuff. But I definitely feel like he's a forgotten guy. Here's my debate with this list. Kobe was the debate whether he should be top 10.
Really?
Because I and this is me thinking like, hey, am I doing it because it was my era? I watched it all the time. He did pass away tragically. Is that playing a role? Like, was Kurt Cobain that great a guitar player? No. But do I put him up there? Yeah. Because tragically he passed away. In my head, I'm like, am I doing this because it's Kobe, or am I doing this because it's Kobe? And I think that was my biggest kind of debate about putting him in. Was there one on your list where you're like, and you kind of going back and forth with?
It was definitely, I have two. It was Kevin Durant and it was Tim Duncan, because I am curious to see when they do the updated top 75 players where they're going to be on the list. Are they going to be in the top 20? Or, are they going to be in the top 10? You never know. But I'm curious because I feel like their trajectory, and Tim Duncan, he's the greatest power forward of all time. He eclipsed Karl Malone, who would have probably been on this, well, not on this list, but he would have been in the top 20 for sure. So, I would say those two. Those are the two I really had a hard time with. And Dirk. Like I said, I feel like Dirk's my 11. And I can make it top 10.
Malone was the other one I thought about, because I feel like his whole career, and I'm excusing the Lakers because that doesn't count them. But his career, he was solid. It was consistent. Yeah. So I feel like, okay, well, Malone was that dude, but is he top 10 player of all time? I feel like, no, he wasn't. And once again, had nothing to do with rings. Mm-hmm. I just felt like when they needed a big shot, they weren't looking for Karl Malone. They were looking at John Stockton. They were looking at Jeff Hornacek. They were looking at, I think Mark Eaton took a couple big shots when he was playing. So I think Malone didn't have that killer instinct, that clutch that all these players on your list had too. So I feel like Malone didn't make the list for that reason.
Yeah.
So those are our lists. That's top 10 of all time. Talk shit to us on Twitter at the Box Out Pod. We will take it. In our next show in 2 weeks, top 10 now NBA players. We're going to try that. So that list might be way different. I think we're all over the place. Of course, Xavier Phillips chimes in because he's a big Bulls fan. Jordan 1, can't stand you. Bulls fan. But it was with Jordan and Russell, it was kind of a debate in my head too. Because I'm like, how would you here we go. Hold on. Mr. Styles P. My man Barkley was top 3, including his golf swing. So that's a good question though. Where would you put Barkley in this hierarchy of all-time greats? Because I would say top
30?
20.
I'm going 30.
Top 30.
Yeah, because I can't put him in the top 10 to 20. I can't put him there. And if we're talking about power forwards, I got Duncan ahead of him. I got Karl Malone ahead of him. I got Kevin Durant ahead of him. So yeah, I'm thinking we're looking at top 30.
That's a top 30. I think I'm top 20, only because he was Bruce Brown, just a hell of a lot better.
Yeah,
he was Bruce Brown, grabbing double-doubles every night, and he got a jumper towards the end. Like towards the end of his career, he started hitting threes.
Yep.
Barkley was never a good shooter early on. Towards the end with Phoenix, he was just spotting up with him, and I think it was him and Dan Marley just spotting up hitting threes. So it's weird. Barkley's an interesting one. All right, so in 2 weeks when we come back, top 10 players in the NBA right now. That's the next list. So at the Box Out Pod, hit us up at Busy J on Twitter, at Kahlil and Thomas. Talk shit. We're okay with that. Quick college conversation. Penny Hardaway is turning Memphis into Kentucky. Here's why. Kentucky has pro days. Kind of like football have pro days.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis doing the same thing. So is Memphis turning into the AAC Kentucky, or is this just Penny like, listen, I got hookups. I was in the league. I was well respected. I'm going to use those connects and hook you guys up now.
I think it's a little both. I definitely think it's definitely that blue chip, that movie he was in kind of feel going on down there. So I'm going to say a little of both. But if he's well connected, why not? Why not make Memphis into a household name if he can?
I mean, they were a household name with Cricket Calipari, and then they lost that name because Derrick Rose had.
But he didn't lose the connect. He didn't lose the connect.
No. He also said something else too, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because we haven't talked about it in the last few weeks. He said that the new name, image, and likeness rules helped him get this number 1 recruiting class he has coming in because there weren't a lot of pressure to those players to want to go to the G League because they can make money now. Are you starting to see this become a thing where I know one top guard is going to play with the elite team, but are you seeing more guys like, listen, I can make some cash, maybe not 10 million, but I can make, an easy 5-6 figures in college, which is all I need right now, and just go to college for 2-3 years.
Have some fun on campus. Yeah. I think this was the NCAA's backhanded compliment to still kind of look cool without the NBA G League taking all the thunder. So I definitely, the appeal to play in March Madness is still there. But now that you could actually get paid for it, it's even bigger.
Well, my issue now is I feel like the money being thrown around is a little crazy now because you have
oh my God, the deals. Oh my God.
An Alabama quarterback making $1 million. And I think he was just named starter, but he got the $1 million before he was named starter. All right. Some of these players are getting hey, listen, I got a barbecue spot on campus. Can you out $3,500? Can you come here and have a rib eating contest? Okay. That's different than dudes have a marketing and branding contract, and marketing firms are not agents, because obviously can't have agents.
Can't have agents.
But marketing firms are listen, we can market you, you make X amount doing this. What quarterback? I think the Oklahoma quarterback is doing a Dr. Pepper commercials this season. are we hitting a point where, listen, if you play for a big school, and this is my biggest concern with all this too, if you play for Alabama, you play for Oklahoma, Ohio State, you're going to get those opportunities to make money. If you play for Rutgers, if you play for St. John's, if you play for Pepperdine, you're going to be at the taco spot eating tacos for free for the semester.
I'm afraid so. It just depends the way it is. Those SEC schools, those ACC schools, they could afford. Those kids are going to make money. But like you said, Rutgers, not so much. St. John, unless you find Nas get you a deal, it's just not going to happen for you.
That ain't happen. Have you heard his album yet?
It's good. It's pretty good.
It's good. I gotta get on that. I'm so behind. Have you heard? I'm gonna save it for later because I gotta go into this. Real fast before we go into that though, I'm gonna talk a little wrestling. Still haven't made a decision about Queens yet. It's still.
Okay. It seemed like that's gonna be the Daniel Bryan show.
Here's the thing with that. Let me get your input, like, because I'm hearing it. My wife is like the rule follower. New job, new school. Is it wrong if I take a sick day in September to go to the show?
Absolutely not.
If I go to the show on Wednesday, I ain't going to work on Thursday.
Well, look at it this way. I'm pretty sure you're not going. I completely forgot about SmackDown next week.
No one cares.
You're not going to that.
No.
And I'm pretty sure you're not even interested in Survivor Series at Barclays.
Hell no.
So this is probably your only opportunity to see AEW this year. Not to mention that you had plans to go last year before Corona messed that up, and that was supposed to be a stacked show.
And that was Blood and Guts.
That was Blood and Guts.
And that was my birthday. That's my birthday show.
So you got robbed of that. So I think you should go.
I'm thinking, and listen, there's a vaccinated crowd, so that makes you feel a little more comfortable now. So it's gonna be interesting. Your thoughts on CM Punk, because we haven't been on air since the Punk debut. Your thoughts on
I
the
thought
debut?
that was an insane pop when he first came back, but I think he's also smart to notice that the novelty is starting to wear off a little bit. I'm curious to see how he looks against Darby in ring. He looked all right last night, but I feel like, and he's aware of it too, the novelty is slowly wearing off.
I feel like he just has to wrestle. He has to get in the ring and wrestle and
all this talk
show that he still has it.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. And then the WWE, same weekend, to counter program CM Punk, they bring back Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch and screw over Bianca Belair. Bianca I'm sorry, I hate using this term. She was buried.
Which was worse, Bianca getting buried or Kofi? Because I'm kind of leaning towards Bianca.
Because Kofi, we knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And we knew that it was going to happen. Bianca, they just took that shovel out and say, all right, Becky, here, do some work. And she's never getting a belt.
Here's my problem with WWE a little bit too much. It's like the horsewomen or nobody else. If they keep pushing the horsewomen down our throats. If I was someone in creative, at this point, it's everybody but against the horsewomen at this point. Like they're all now with Becky being a heel, they're all heels. So at this point, you got to build somebody else up now. So let's see what they're gonna do.
I mean, they're redoing NXT. So
RIP NXT.
Pour some out for them.
Taking over.
Yep. And Bruce Pritchard and Vince doing NXT. I'm like, yep. Never watching that show again. That's over now.
Pretty much, yep, it's over.
I'm gonna get NWA on Fight TV and watch that every week now. That'll fill me out. Last question: did you listen to Kanye's album?
I did. It was dragging. It was a lot to take in, and honestly, what's funny? I'm looking forward to Midnight Tonight because that's when Drake's album come out, and I have a feeling this is gonna be Drake's best album. And I feel like Kanye didn't. He initially wanted to go up against it tonight, but for some reason he dropped, down on a random Sunday at 8:00 in the morning, and I think that's why. I think Drake's album's gonna have a lot of heat, a lot of bangers. I think Kanye, the whole having these listening events, kind of ruined the steam of the album.
Well, it's kind of like I compared it to when Guns N' Roses did Chinese Democracy.
Okay.
And I was hyped because I love Guns N' Roses. I was hyped. I was like, all right, cool. And I know K-Rock, when it was still K-Rock, midnight we don't play the whole album. So I got some friends together, we all hung out, and we was listening. About 12:45, and I'm looking around, and everybody's just like, And I'm like, This album's over about 12:50-ish. This is shit. I got through about 10 tracks of Donda.
Oh, you didn't make it halfway?
And said, this is shit, and turned it off. Which I didn't realize, because Ebro said it on the morning show, and then can't remember who the DJ was who had said it. Ebro said he liked 8 songs on the album.
Wow.
The DJ pointed out, mind you, it was like a 27-track album, right?
Mm-hmm.
The DJ pointed out that half the album are remixes.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
So is remixes of the songs on the album. So the first half are the album, the other half are remixes with like one added verse in it. So Ebro figured out that he didn't like 8 songs. He liked 4 songs. So 4 songs of 27. And Ebro, I mean, I have my issue with Ebro because he plays bullshit in the morning. For Ebro to say, I like 4 tracks out of 27, that told me I made the right choice in turning off that damn album at 10.
Wow. I think I probably like 3 songs.
Damn,
and
3?
There's controversy amongst those songs because at one point Jay-Z was supposed to be off the album, and he took off Soulja Boy's verse off of one song.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hot mess.
Chris Brown off too, right?
Yep.
And Chris Brown went at him.
So,
Chris Brown.
If you want to know what the hottest album of the summer is, it's definitely King Disease 2 by Nas. Until Drake comes out at midnight.
Here's my issue. I gotta listen to all this. It's the time now, and I know I got Labor Day weekend. I can probably knock all this out. Hopefully, we'll see. I have shit to do. I can knock this out. And the Nas I heard was really good. I didn't even know Drake had an album out tonight.
Yeah, coming out tonight. 35 Beloved Boy. Should be good. So I'm assuming you're watching all is it all in or all out? I can never keep up.
All in. Right? And, all in. I'm watching. I'm ordering it.
And you're pretty sure Adam Cole and Ruby Riott are probably going to be the surprises Sunday?
Her name is Ruby Soho. Okay, it's Ruby Soho.
I like that a little bit.
I do too, actually. It feels like cool. Real fast too. I know Daphne, former WCW superstar. She passed away last night, and I know that was crazy because I remember watching her in WCW when WCW was hot garbage. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And her, Crowbar, and Flair's son.
David Flair. Is it David? No, I forgot his name.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, David Flair.
And that was like, oh shit, this is kind of cool. And the screaming was like, she's kind of hot when she screams. That's what got me. I'm like, I like this chick. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Daphne. Rest in peace. Gone with you soon. And on that note, we're going to end the show right there. Jason, as always, great show.
Likewise.
So we're going to take one more week off. All right. After next week, we'll be back after that, and then we're back on our normal every week schedule. But we got to put together our top 10 current players right now. That should take 2 weeks.
And we probably have a Ben Simmons trade by then.
It needs to happen sooner than later. They can't keep Ben Simmons till training camp and then have this drag on. Or he changes his mind and shows up, talks some shit, then gets traded, like James Harden. So that's a possibility. I can see that more so. I'm starting to hate Ben Simmons, actually. Starting to hate him. So no show next week. We'll be back the following Thursday here on the Just Who Talk YouTube channel. For Jason Corden, I'm Kahlil Thomas. Thank you for watching. And hopefully you like our list. See you later.
Yep. Peace.